Hello and welcome. In this video segment we will work through step 14 through 18 of tutorial 2. These steps will demonstrate how to modify existing geometry, remachine the pocket corners, export all the drilling operations into a library, and finally post the file. Let's get working on step 14, modifying existing geometry. I'm going to add chamfers on the four corners of the outside profile. To start, I'm going to move up and pick the icon for top view. Next, I'll move over to the left, select Create, Chamfer, and then Chamfer Chains. When prompted, select Chain 1. I'm going to select this top horizontal line, and as you can see, it's successfully captured the contour. Moving over to the left, I'm going to hit OK. The chamfer distance is set to 0.25, so that's great. We've got it set up at one distance, and also the trim is turned on. Everything looks fine. I'm going to hit OK. If you look down in the bottom left corner, you can see an X against the toolpath for contour. What we need to do is regenerate all dirty operations. So I'm going to move on up and select the icon to regenerate all dirty operations, and that's got rid of that X. Initially we machined out this pocket with a 3/8 flat end mill. Unfortunately, that end mill couldn't clean up the corners. The fillet radius is 0.0625 in the corner. So to improve the toolpath efficiency, we're going to use a 1-inch flat end mill to rough out the pocket. Next, we'll use a 1/8 flat end mill and the remachining pocket type to remove the material in the areas where the 1-inch tool could not fit. What I'm going to do next is select Parameters in this pocket operation. In the Tool Parameters page, you can see I have a 3/8 end mill highlighted. I'm going to delete that tool by selecting the Delete key on my keyboard. When prompted, are you sure? I'm going to select Yes. What we need to do now is pick up a 1-inch flat end mill. I'm going to select Library Tool, move over, select Filter. In the Tool Types area, first of all I'm going to pick None, and then move up to the left and select this icon for flat end mills. Over in the Tool Diameter section, I'm going to leave Equal as is, but for the diameter I'm going to input 1.0. Now I'm going to hit the OK, and as you can see, it's filtered out a 1-inch diameter end mill. I've selected it. Now I'm going to pick OK. This is tool number 5. Length offset, I'll change that to 5. My comment is going to stay as is. Let's move over to pocketing parameters. My clearance, retract, feed, top of stock and depth are all fine, so they're going to stay as is. XY stock to leave, I'm going to change that to 0.03. What we're going to do is leave 30 thou on the walls of the pocket, and we'll finish the pocket off later. Everything looks great here. I'm going to pick OK. As you can see, we have a red X for the pocket. Let's move on up and regenerate all the dirty operations. Next, we're going to remachine the pocket corners with a 1/8 diameter end mill. At present, I have my pocket operation highlighted, got a check mark against it. I'm going to right mouse click, drag down and let go. From this menu, I'm going to select Copy After. Moving up, I'm going to select the icon to move the insert arrow down one item. This includes the second pocket operation. What we need to do now is move into parameters. Let's go back to the toolpath parameters page, and the first thing we're going to do is select a 1/8 diameter end mill. So I'm going to pick on select library tool, then I'll hit filter. Moving over the tool types, I'm going to pick none, and then again I'm going to pick this icon for end mill flat. Equal is going to stay as is, but for our diameter we'll input 0.125. Now I'm going to pick OK. It's filtered out the appropriate end mill, 1/8 diameter. I'm going to pick OK. This is tool number 6. Let's change the offset to 6 as well. I'm going to update my comment. And change it to remove the remaining material. Everything looks fine here. Let's move over to pocketing parameters. What we need to do here is XY stock to leave. Let's change that to 0. This is our finishing operation. Clearance, retract, feed, top of stock, depth, they're all fine. Let's move over now to pocket type. I'm going to set it to remachining, and next I'm going to click on the remachining button. In the area compute remaining stock from, you can see we've got it set to the previous operation. That's the operation where we use the 1-inch diameter end mill. Moving on down, we've enabled apply entry exit curves to rough passes, and I'm also going to put a check mark against machine complete finish passes and disable display stock. Everything looks fine here. Let's pick OK. Next I'm going to enable depth of cuts, move into depth of cuts, and for the rough step I'll change that to 0.05. 50 thou. Finish cuts I'll leave at 0, and the finish step I'll change that to 0. Everything looks fine, so I'm going to hit OK. Let's move on now to roughing finishing parameters page. The cutting method is set at parallel spiral, so that's great. Let's move on down and enable finish. I'm also going to turn on lead in, lead out, and move into the lead in, out. Entries on, exit on. The length for my entry, I'm going to change that to 60%. The arc, I'll do the same, 60%. For the exit, I'm going to change the length to 60, and the arc likewise 60. Everything looks fine. Hit OK, and now I'm going to hit OK to exit pocket parameters. We need to get rid of the X, move on up, regen all dirty operations, and the X disappears. Let's move on to step 15. Let's verify the part. I'm going to move up and select all operations. Next, I'm going to pick verify. I'm going to move the dialog box up and get an isometric view. This time I'm going to hit the button to simulate tool and holder. Let's increase the quality. Moving on down, let's slow the speed down. Everything looks great. I'm going to hit the machine button. First up is the spot drill. Next, peck drilling the holes, third operation, tapping. Now we're machining out the contour. I'm going to speed it up. Machining out the pocket with our 1" end mill, and then finally finishing off the corners with the 1/8 diameter end mill, and then a finish pass around. Everything looks great. I'm going to pick OK. Over in the Operations Manager, I'm going to right mouse click and collapse all. Next, I'm just going to select the first operation as spot drilling, hold the shift key down and hit the third operation, tapping. So there's a check mark against spot drilling, peck drilling and tapping. Next, I'm going to right mouse click and select export. For the file name, I'm going to type in drill ops. For the group, I'm going to type in 9/16 12 tap, and then move on down to the bottom. I'm going to hit the export button. I'm going to hit OK and then pick the OK to exit. We'll be using those operations in a later tutorial. Step 17. Let's post the file. I'm going to move on up, select all the operations. They've all got a check mark against them. Go up and post selected operations. Everything looks fine here. I'm going to move on down, hit the check mark. For the name, I'm going to put in tutorial 2 and hit save. And there's our completed CNC code for tutorial 2. I'm now going to select the X to exit the editor. Now it's time to save the file. I'm going to move on up, hit save. That completes tutorial 2 and this video. Thanks for watching.